Hello, Boomslang, and welcome to your deck review. For those of you joining us for the first time on YouTube, this is a series where I, Maultown, normally a short form hater, would-be jester, probable douche, will politely and lovingly take a look at your commander deck and its weird little PP. Your PP being your premise and your practicum. Your premise is the idea behind your deck. It's what you hope it will do. Your practicum is what it actually does. This deck is a Peregrine Took deck. The idea is we've had the first, yes, but what about second breakfast, and third breakfast, and fourth breakfast? The one where I take all the previous breakfasts and kill you with them. And we're having some consistency issues. So the primer's a bit long. I have read the whole thing. I'm going to do my best to summarize it. We seem to be having some draw issues, and then we are having high degrees of variance in games where we get a lot of tokens, we do a lot of stuff. It's amazing. And then some games, turn 5, I have no tokens, no games, no bacon. Now, I do think, and we're in bracket 3, so it is meaningful that on turn 5 we don't have a lot going yet. I do think if we were going to skimp on one thing, it is probably going to be the card draw. As you have accurately identified, a lot of Green's burst draw is relying on the power of your creatures. There are going to be a few things we can do that don't do that, but you're probably not going to have high powered creatures until you're trying to end the game if you're using food tokens. Um, but our commander Peregrine Took can turn foods into draw. So I am of the opinion, again, I've not built a mono green food deck until today. Uh, I'm of the opinion that if we can solve the token making problem, we solve the card draw problem. Every 3 foods equals 1 card. Um, you talked about trying to get value out of them through the mid game as well. I don't think you really need to worry about that. Like there's some things you're gonna do that are gonna provide just incidental value, but for the most part, food decks are like I am building up this reserve of grain. I have read Sun Tzu. You have not. When my grain reserves get big enough, I'm gonna hit you with Knight of Sweets Revenge. I'm gonna hit you with insert any of the many food crater hoofs. But I don't think you have to worry too much about hyper specific payoffs. I think if we just do how do I make enough foods to draw cards through Peregrine Took, after that, good green cards will take us a long way. Um, challenges, yeah. So we don't want to turn this into a complete landfall deck. We don't want to turn this into a squirrel deck. I'm down with all of that. Now, you asked about your ramp. There's 8 1-drops to get Peregrine out on turn 2. I generally love this. I think this could be a deck where we don't have to do this, right? Because Peregrine Took is a replacement effect. And so there could be, you talked about Gala Greeters already, there could be other 2-drops where it is worth playing Peregrine Took on 3 because it has enabled us to establish a food engine on 2. And it seems like the biggest issue is food engine. And so we may even go lower on ramp. It may even become less important. I'm not totally sure yet. So let's go in to the deck. Now, your Mind Palace is relatively well organized. I think the number one critique I have about how you are tagging this, and again, if this was just tagged for my benefit, I appreciate you very much. Um, oh, never mind. I was worried about all the one-off things, but I see the repeatable thing. Perfect. We have 19 of these. 19 feels like we should always be finding one or more a game. So I am confused by our consistency issues. So Galagreeter's great. Gilded Goose, pretty good. Spring Heart Nantuko. Oh, very good. Because we cannot pay. Okay, so that's a lie, right? This guy's another replacement effect. So I would never be tagging the things that are other add-on I make more tokens as token makers. Because if we draw this guy in Peregrine Took, what happens? Fucking nothing, right? We have to find a different thing. So okay. For 2 mana, we can sack a food to make a food and a 4/4. Uh, Ninja Pizza, hilariously, is probably the best card in this deck. Tina, same thing as Springheart Nantuko. Like, good card, for sure. But does nothing by itself, does nothing with your commander. Cute Stormy, I fucked up an evil. Okay, same deal. So we're up to 3 now. Cabbage Merchant, not under your control, but pretty reliably going to happen over the course of the game. Very good, very good. I don't. I would really love if we had a better one than this, but we probably don't. Yeah, I don't like that we are limited to how many uses we get out of this. Okay, this one's okay. That one's great. That one's great, but it's pretty greedy and doesn't get turned on until pretty late. And then this guy seems very highly thematic, but he's a lot of mana and he only does it once. So I'm not sure. I think we may have just mistagged this guy in repeatable. We still have a lot of pretty good stuff under repeatable. What I'm noticing about repeatable is there's a lot of things that are mana intensive, and there's a small number of things that don't actually make tokens. They make more tokens when make token, but they don't make us the first token. So the first thing I would be trying to do is replace the ones that are limited use or a little bit flightier. The ones I would say are flightier are like Fountain Port, and I realize this is in the deck because it's a low inclusion cost. You probably don't cut Fountain Port. I'm not saying you shouldn't consider Fountain Port repeatable token generation, but like 4 mana every turn to get a 1/1 fish and a food is very fucking tough rate. Um, so Fountain Port, like Shire at 3 mana every turn, make a food is about the limit of what I would want. And then like we're probably never gonna cut Academy Manufacturer in particular just because treasures are so good, but it it hurts me to not to have so many that we could draw and they could just be dead in hand. Yeah. Let's see what else we can do that will make a food. I think that's the big problem. Let's try to solve that problem first. Repeatable. I don't know if repeatable food tokens is even an O tag. Let's find out. It's not great. Uh, Probably artifact tokens. Yup. And then we can do Oracle food, Commander green. Now, since we're in monocolor, I would believe that we have exhausted everything here. No, we have not. Okay. Hmm. I'm not sure if we're going to get the halfling attack trigger, but this is the type of thing I would want more of. I would want more, or this is the type of thing I'd be willing to cut ramp for. I would be like, okay, can I curve Meriadoc, or maybe I get lucky and I get the ramp and I go like ramp, Peregrine, Meriadoc, swing Peregrine. But then the difficulty becomes, what do we do about this our fucky ass board state early on? We already have campsite cuisine. We're not casting from outside our hand. Uh, okay. I like Galadriel Gift Giver a fair bit more than I like Rook, I think. We're gonna get this benefit at least once when she comes in. If we keep ramp in the deck, 4/4 swing safer than you think. This is certainly not going to be winning you the game via combat damage, but I would be surprised if we could not find at least one person we could swing in on with this, and we can use it to pump up our board a little bit more if we need to. On damage only, that's going to be really bad. This doesn't make any tokens by itself. Uh, this is on cast. This is on mana value. Low key, could we get away with this? I think it depends on how freaky your pod is, right? Because if we put this on our commander, it's very, very juicy to shoot our commander to get a 2-for-1 on us. But if we have a 2/6, a 2/6 can swing hyper safely. And very importantly, it does not require us to keep committing mana. Like that is the main theme of what I'm trying to look for right now, because committing some mana, great. But if to make our foods, we have to do, okay, I'm going to commit 2 mana to Gilded Goose. I'm going to commit 3 effective mana and tapping a creature to the Shire, we've gone 5 mana, make 4 food tokens. That's really good in bracket 2. That won't really cut it in bracket 3. I think in bracket 3, we want to have more ways where we can manalessly, repeatably make the food, and then we want to spend our mana to more seriously develop our board state. We want to spend our mana to interact. We want to spend our mana um, to get some threats down, because we want to be able to. We don't have anything good in hand, use the foods, draw a card to cast the new spell, which I don't really think, it doesn't seem like this deck can do that right now, because everything we do to meaningfully, or almost everything we do to meaningfully make foods, we have to commit ongoing amounts of mana to. And so it'll be like, okay, we're going to tap out this turn just to make some foods. And then next turn, I can use them for draw if I need to. And the other benefit of these is like, we're going to make 2 food tokens for each of these triggers versus like jump blockers are good. I don't know if they're so good that I'm on 2 mana, make 1 food, and a kind of meaningless guy. That may be something that we have to shore up somewhere else, and we may be able to just like cut some of these, rearrange the deck as a whole a little bit. Yeah, tough cookie got to get the fuck out of here. Tough, tough cookie, no. That boy dead. That boy is dead. Um, I would believe in Nuka-Cola vending machine over damn near anything that's already in this deck. Again, like it has a higher upfront cost versus things like the Shire, Fountain Port, which you're gonna have in your deck anyway because they're lands. The ongoing cost, 1 mana, I get a food. Anytime I sack my foods, I'm gonna get tapped treasures. We going in? This might go infinite with Academy Manufacturer, right? Okay, we sack a food. Yeah. This has to go infinite with like our Commander Academy Manufacturer. So maybe we're not playing it because of that. I would dead ass rate this card. If you want to avoid the infinite, I would rate this card in isolation higher than Academy Manufacturer, which I know sounds cuckoo dumbass in a deck that cares about making tokens. But if our problem is food generation, we should take the thing that can make the food for cheap. Um, right? Because if we have 3 foods, we play this, we sack 3 foods to draw a card. Whenever we sack 3 foods, we make a tap treasure, which would make 3 tap treasures, which Academy Manufacturer would turn into um, 3 foods, 3 clues, the 3 treasures, and then we can draw our whole deck. So decide for yourself whether that is a combo you would like to have in this deck. If you would not like to have the combo, I would recommend that you play Nuka-Cola Vending Machine over the Academy Manufacturer, um, because it just solves the problem you're facing better. And yeesh, that is really it. We do not want to be discarding a card to make these food tokens. We do not want to be marrying ourselves to a creature and a non-creature spell. I am attracted to the idea of Michelangelo, but he's really bad if he's ever not in our opening hand. And so I don't think he's worth playing. There's a 265, that's crazy. Anyway, um like God, if he could be partners with Peregrine Took, I love this guy. We draw this guy on turn 5, we're so fucked because the deck as it currently stands is not geared towards swinging. But that's what, one. I really want to try this. I really want to try this. Minimum 2, 3 new token generators I think should come in. What are our game changers right now? Natural order. Yeah, I agree with that. We might have more tutors than we could play, but you've hit the obvious ones. I think we're pretty solid there. So what do we have in here that we shouldn't? Let me just look through. I like all this ramp for the most part. Ramp post commander. I'm not as confident we need that. I think Goldvein Goldvein Hydra stands out to me as a really greedy option that we could probably we could probably replace with something that just does better every game. I can see the potential here. I can see why it's in the deck because if we get food generation, something that converts food generation into mana, and then we dump a ton of mana into a big gold vein Hydra, we have a massive threat. And when that massive threat dies, we will make we'll make one food, but we'll get a lot of tap treasures, right? For some part of my morning brain thought you would make as many foods as you were going to make treasures, and then I was like, yeah. But if we don't do that, I'm not as convinced. Jahira, sure. Yeah, tireless, sure. Um, don't play this guy because of ramp post commander. I don't think old Gnawbone is even the threat you should be playing, right? This kind of falls under Goldvein Hydra to me. Is like we're trying to make a threat. I think we are generating the wrong type of value with our threat. The value in these threats is that they make a whole lot of tokens in one big dump. But this deck as a whole does not seem to be incredibly mana limited. Our curve is very responsible. Um, we have a number of things that are going to give us just like oodles and oodles of mana. What we are is card draw limited. And so Goldvein Hydra and Old Gnawbone, these would be like poster children for these are very fun one-off cards. I would be seeking to find a fun one-off card that can solve my draw issue. Like, I bring this guy. This is my new like Drana Liberator of Malakir, except this card is good. Um I think the bar we want to overcome is like Oher Kaslam, because this can come down relatively early. It can swing relatively safely. If we get swings in, it can dig for our very valuable food engines because many of these are creatures, right? We can find Cabbage Merchant, we can find Tireless Provisioner. Getting the lands is just going to be kind of like icing on the cake. I could pretend that it was statistically relevant that you could hit the Shire. That doesn't really matter. What matters is Academy Manufacture, or we'll cut in this guy, but like any of our really good repeatable generators can be found very quickly because he solves the problem that we're actually having, which is how do I get to my good stuff, not how do I pay for my good stuff. So what could we do for Old Gnawbone? I think a really easy one is Elder Gargaroth. Guy's a classic. He's very good. He's beaten my ass many times. This is another thing that notably comes down earlier, and whenever it comes down, you're going to be pretty happy to see it because it will either solve your card draw problem, solve your token generator problem, or save you from getting your ass beat. So I'd recommend these two 5 mana shitlords over your two. This is a 7 mana shitlord. This guy is hopefully a 7 mana shitlord. I just think they're solving a different problem than the one you have. Uh, oh golly, do I want to keep Trail of Crumbs? That's really that makes me very happy. Beast Whisperer, sure, yeah. I mean, we have 31 creatures in the deck. They'll probably work. Guardian Project. I mean, this is basically the same card as Beast Whisperer. It's hard to take issue with one and not take issue with the other. I'm trying to think if there's any other Gargaroth esque Gargaroth esque cards that we can do instead, because it's another like we're establishing woefully few threats, and you don't have to be the big threat, um, but we want you to be able to establish some type of threat type creature. We could try Orin Frostfang. We have a lot of really tiny, shitty creatures. This could be a very, very valuable draw engine, right? Like when our mana dorks have outlived their usefulness, we pick the person who only has important creatures left, and we swing death touching mana dorks at them to draw a card. The damage is Birds of Paradise can't even do it. The damage is so little that it's not as like they're probably not going to make the choice to block you. Okay. I don't like Toski because again, we do need the death touch. The death touch has to happen for us not to get shit on. I don't think I would be letting other people draw cards. I don't think I would be preying on our ability to draw or our ability to damage people. Not to encounter stuff. If you wanted the game to just get fucking crazy, you could do Heartwood Storyteller. I don't think we have enough elves for Champion of the Perfect. That's Aura. I'm trying to imagine if there are enough of because Okame Adversary in isolation does not feel very good to me. There's a world where this feels good to me, but that's also the world where I'm like gearing this deck more around Meriadoc Brandybuck. I'm putting the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle in here, and I'm trying to do much more of a like uh tempo based. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna punch you. Cares about creatures with counters dying. Cares about beasts. Oh, well, okay. Technodrom's a pretty easy layup, right? Our commander is 3 foods for 1 card. Technodrome is 1 food, 1 card. Now it is only 1 a turn, but it can be played much faster. Ah, but it does have summoning sickness. I think that's okay. I think the benefit of being able to play this earlier, have it become a creature that has reach that can help us keep our life total up while we try to draw into our big win cons, does put it over either over one of these or just in for something else. Um, I don't love Harmonize, but I realize that's the position we're in. I think Growing Rights of Itlamok is actually pretty good for this deck. I think Turn Timber Symbiosis is pretty good for this deck. Put Technodrum in over Sylvan Anthem yesterday. Uh, I don't love Awaken the Woods. Again, it's another thing of like we're solving a problem that we don't have. Maybe ramp will become a bigger problem as we cut all these things, but this is I tap out, I make a bunch of Llanowar elves, and the card represents 1 food. Very similar to what I bring up when I'm talking about trying to ramp to big numbers. You want 1 card to make you more than 1 mana. Awaken the Woods does that really well. We're dealing with the muffin economy, man. We need we need 1 card to represent multiple muffins. Galadriel's multiple muffins. This is 1 muffin. Uh, Killer Service I like because we can just keep doing it, and it will make us decent blockers. Springheart and Antuco's great. I think Kina definitely can be kept, especially as we fix up more of these other things. Stride Hanger Automaton I don't love, but flying blockers are important. I hate this guy the most. If we cut anything, it's probably this guy. Good card, acceptable card, good card. And we do want something to do if we hit a thing that turns foods into mana. Low inclusion cost, so we won't beef with it. Pretty good card. Good card, good card, good card, good card, good card. And then this guy sucks, but he has to be in here, I think, for theme, and so he should just stay as a pet card. Oh, Jesus God, we have Ouroboros in here. All right. Um, yeah, I mean, there's basically no argument by which we should be cutting this guy. It is incredibly strong green card and incredibly good lightning rod for removal. It's not thematic at all. Well, maybe okay, hold on. There's like a Jack and the Beanstalk allegory. This is the beanstalk. What did he trade for? Beans. What are those? Food. Okay, we're there. I'm back. Um Vigor is also a very powerful one-off. Increase amount of tokens. I don't love these in a world where we are having token problems to begin with. I think this should work so well that you don't feel the need for parallel lives, right? Like if instead of parallel lives, we drew Nuka-Cola vending machine and we were like, okay, so for 4 mana, I'm going to make 2 foods, and then I'm going to make 2 foods for 1 mana every single turn after that. Like, obviously these cards are still very good when we draw them with an effect already on board, but whenever I'm in a deck that's having any games that are like fail to fire, I cut every like add-on replacement effect, and I just do as many things that make the thing I need as possible. We talked about Tough Cookie dying. Hey, let's go asceticism or asceticism. And then we don't have, but we have like no way to remove anybody else's stuff. Oh, that is quite bad. So what you may have to start making hard decisions about is these like one-off creature token generators, or the add-on replacement effects might just have to go for creatures that remove things, or creatures that 2-for-1 somehow. I don't think there's going to be a huge degree of protective creatures in green. Um, but like it's going to be a very big, you don't have to be the control player, but it's going to be a very, very big problem for us if we cannot answer anything. But here we get no lands. The jungle, that's insane. That's insane. What are we doing? Oh, okay, God loves you. So we do Delighted Halfling, Peregrine Took. And now we have a pretty good game on our hands, right? We're gonna do this, we're gonna make 2 foods. We're gonna Ninja Pizza, second main phase. We're gonna make 2 foods. We're gonna tap 3, get Kina out, and then probably stack these foods to draw an end step. Because like Krark-Clan Ironworks, actually, you could probably replace this as well. You just don't have a curve that needs the amount of mana you are making all of these mana things to do. I might even be willing to cut Jaheira, quite frankly. Like, it seems like we have a card problem and a threat problem. I don't see us having any type of mana problem. Because if we solve the token problem, we inherently solve the draw problem. If we solve the draw problem, we're probably hitting our land drops. Between hitting our land drops, the 1 mana ramp you already have in the deck, and the things like Ninja Pizza and Cabbage Merchant, I'm not really sweating mana. Like, you're not going to take a Storm turn. You're not going to play some crazy X spell. You're trying to play like an 8 mana finisher on turn 6, maybe. It's very easy to hit that without needing to do like a KCI turn. And then we would much rather be sacrificing these foods to get some card draw. Bam. God damn. But see, because I drew this card, I get to the Shire, which is going to allow me to make more foods. More foods, more better, more good. We tap these 2, tap this. Bam, 2 foods. Also 2 1/1s. Then next, I'd probably tap these 3 foods for Provisioner. Pretend I played that first, because then we would have 2 additional foods. I'd make 2 more in main phase 2. And again, the problem here is now, like, I need cards. I don't need mana by an overwhelming degree. But I'll tap and sack 3 of them, draw a card. Beautiful. Tap and sack 3 of them, draw a card. Not as good. So I can really see how this stalls out if we don't get the repeatable token generation going. But we could have, if we had Technodrome, Castlem, Galadriel, I don't think we would have loved Meriadoc Brandybuck in this hand unless we were willing to, pitch a Delighted Halfling into the fucking flames, or if we had somebody with a weak board state that we could put Peregrine Took into and he wouldn't die. Uh, but I would be pulling a lot. I would be pulling a lot from anything that is a one-off token maker, anything that is meant to make mana, and I would be trying to get repeatable tokens, repeatable draws, or a threat that can deal with other people's stuff like Kogla. Donkey Kong gets hungry. That puts him in a food deck. So if anybody else has built mono green foods and has suggestions that I have missed, please let me know. Otherwise, I wish you the best, and I do hope this helps.